I believe that the principal threat that the United States faces in the world is the rise of China and the possibility that China might try to dominate Asia. And I think we have a deep-seated interest in containing China. But what's happened is that the United States has lost focus and it's got diverted into the Ukraine war in Europe, and it's now getting diverted into the Middle East with the war between Hamas and Israel. And the United States is therefore unable to pivot completely to Asia. And I think this is a major mistake for the United States. The period from 1989, when the Cold War ended, up until about 2017 is commonly known as the unipolar moment. And what that means is that there was only one great power on the planet. And that one great power was the United States of America. The unipolar moment is in the rearview mirror. It's gone. We are now in a multipolar world where we went from one great power to three great powers: the United States, China, and Russia. It's important to understand that Uncle Sam is still the most powerful state on the planet. But nevertheless, China is a peer competitor. It is growing economically, it is growing militarily, and it is beginning to close in on the United States. The Gulf is of great interest to the United States and other countries on the planet simply because it has oil. And oil is a very special resource. And the United States does not want any country controlling all of the oil in the Persian Gulf. So the United States has a deep-seated interest in maintaining a balance of power in the Persian Gulf. Now, we have these three areas of the world: East Asia, Europe, and the Gulf. Historically, the United States has cared the most about Europe. Europe has been historically much more important than East Asia. And that's because the most powerful great powers on the planet have been located mainly in Europe. That changed after 2017. For the first time in American history, East Asia is the most important area of the world for us. Why is that the case? One very simple reason. Who's the peer competitor out there? It's not Germany, it's not Russia, it's China. And what I'm telling you is that the United States should pivot, right, to East Asia and not get bogged down in Europe. The Russians don't matter that much. They're not a threat to dominate Europe. And the Persian Gulf does not have a potential hegemon sitting in that region. There's no one country that's going to take over all the oil. So we're, in an ideal world, free to pivot. But we've not fully pivoted. And what I'm telling you, and I'm going to lay this out in more detail, is we are going to get more deeply involved in Ukraine and in the Middle East than we already are. Darkness ahead in both regions. And what does that mean? It means it's difficult to pivot. One final point. There is nobody who disagrees that China is our biggest threat. But what I'm telling you is we're in a situation where we can't fully pivot to Asia to deal with that threat because we're pinned down in the Middle East now and before that in Ukraine. Furthermore, the Russians, who should be on our side because of our foolish policies, have pushed them onto the side of the Chinese. This is not good. That's the basic situation that we face. This is why I say we've lost focus and we're in trouble.